Let's have a look at the grid for our last race of the day then. The Laser Tools pre-93 touring cars and the Simply Service pre-03 touring cars. Based on the results of race 1, so 191 Gary Preble will start on pole and 123 AJ Owen alongside him. Second row, 148 Don Hughes in the Peugeot. Alongside him will be David Griffin, number 34, the pre-93 winner from race 1. Third row, 51 Mike Dugdale and 95 Kevin Willis in their BMWs. Fourth row, 71 Simon Ward in the Astra and 169 Ross Craig in his Honda. Fifth row, 33 Andy Cripps BMW and the similar machine of number 90 in Bauer. Row 6, number 5 Mark Fowler came through from the back of the grid in race 1 and 131 Phil Wright in his Honda. Seventh row, 157 Simon Beament with the Escort, David Nixon in his Rover number 52. The 8th row, 26 of Sam Goodwin, Astra, Kaylee Twigger, Rover, number 15 on row 8. Row 9 is Matthew Howarth in his Astra, Mark Shepherd in the VW Vento alongside him in 333. Row 10 is 251 Vic Hope in his Civic. Alongside him is Will Deardell, who is, I believe, taking over the Saxo. Paul raced it earlier on. So the Deardell family swapping cars like there's no tomorrow. Row 11, 86 Robert May with the Corolla and 59 Colin Newbold in the Integra. Row 12, Andy Sheraton in the BMW. Hope he's carrying our onboard camera again. Alongside him will be John Hillier in the BMW Estates. 13th row, Gideon September in the Honda Civic and Jake Margulies in his BMW. Behind them we should see David Howard in his 55 Jaguar. 113 Nigel Williams BMW. Steve Barber won't be out. He blew his engine in qualifying. And Guy Connew didn't start the first race in his Jaguar and he broke down in the Jaguar race, so we won't see him out. Cars are on the grid then. Good clear up by the marshals there, nice and quick. This will be a 15-minute race in the setting sun here at Donington. They'll be heading off for the green flag lap very shortly. Possibly a couple of absentees from the back from the grid I've just given you. So it's Gary Preble on pole, ready to renew his rivalry that's sparked up this season with AJ Owen. Watch for David Griffin. He might get a decent getaway once they come round on the green flag lap. He might get away well in the rear-wheel drive BMW. Took the win in the pre-93 race earlier on after passing Mike Dugdale. Don't forget we have another live stream coming up on BARC TV next weekend. Brands Hatch is the venue, and it's the big rigs in action. The first round of the British Truck Racing Championship for 2021. And then the following Saturday, June the 12th at Alton Park, the Brit Car Endurance Championship is back in town in Cheshire. Okay, off they go for the green flag lap, the final race of this Bank Holiday Monday. Gary Preble in the white Honda on pole, the red and black version of AJ Owen alongside him. So looking to see if there is any gap on this grid. Mark Fowler's there, Phil Wright, Simon Beament, David Nixon and Kaylee Twigger with the Rovers. Matthew Howarth is there, Mark Shepherd, Vic Hope. Deardell Saxo is there. 59 of Colin Newbold. There's Jake Margulies at the back. So no Nigel Williams, no Steve Barber, no Guy Connew, no David Howard either. The drivers that are there, a fine grid we've got. BMWs, Hondas, Fords, Peugeots, Vauxhalls, Rovers, VW Vento, Citroen Saxo, Toyota Corolla there. Even a BMW estate car. Well, if Volvo and Honda can do it in British touring cars, so can John Hillier. Championship sponsor Simon Beamont. Simply serviced, garage and MOT centre in Colchester. Now, car 59 listed as Mark Court on the grid sheet in this one, so they may have swapped drivers.
96 is the teal Astra, the Howard car. So was you not apologies, I've just had a scan myself when I realised I've written it at the bottom. Yeah, he's new on the entry list. What was the name of it? Howard, H-O-W-A-R-T-H.
Cars coming up to the grid in the setting sun here at Donington Park, then the final race of the day. The pre-93 touring cars sponsored by Laser Tools and simply serviced pre-2003 touring cars. Two Hondas on the front row, followed by a Peugeot and a BMW. Gary Preble in the white car on pole. AJ Owen alongside in the reigning pre-03 champion, reigning pre-93 champion David Griffin, the Australian-born racer, on row 2 alongside Don Hughes and the Peugeot. Mike Dugdale on row 3 in his BMW alongside Kevin Willis. Watch for Simon Ward in the black Astra as well on row 4. Very rapid car, that one. But can anyone stop the two Hondas from the front row? Gary Preble, vastly experienced saloon racer in all kinds of cars.
That's a really cool row of the grid. That's the Triple 3 in the 96, the Vento and the Astra. That's properly cool. And then the Burgundy Astra and the Tomcat in front of that.
Settle in then, ready for the final 15-minute thrash of the day here at Donington Park. The green flag is waved at the back of the grid. Let's finish with a cracker here at Donington Park today. Race 2 for the pre-93 and pre-03 touring cars. The red lights are on and away we go. Bit of wheel spin from David Griffin. Didn't get the start he wanted in the BMW. Great start by AJ Owen. He'll launch into the lead. Look at Don Hughes coming up in the yellow Peugeot on the outside. Gary Preble didn't get away too well there. Owen leads into the first corner from Preble. Mike Dugdale's there on the inside, and that's the last thing David Griffin wanted, because Mike Dugdale trying to take the lead of the pre-93 splits. The slippery surface flag is out there just to warn the drivers there may be a bit of oil left on the circuit. You can see the trail there. They just clip the end of it as they come through the Craner curves. AJ Owen leads, Gary Preble in second. They're already clear of Don Hughes in the Peugeot. Mike Dugdale trying to go around the outside into the old hairpin. Ian Bauer moving up on the inside there in the number 90 BMW. They've all made it round the first half lap okay. Jake Margulies at the back in his BMW E30. It's AJ Owen from Gary Preble. Hughes in third. Griffin stayed ahead of Dugdale for the lead of the pre-93 touring cars. They climb up towards the right-hander at Coppice. Kevin Willis in sixth place. Simon Ward's Astra behind him. Then a swarm of BMWs. There's the Saxo, the Durdal family. They've had a busy weekend. They're racing over the weekend as well as today. And Gary Preble moves to the outside. AJ Owen moves to defend into the chicane. And he's done so. Rest them through single file. BMW's almost 3 wide behind though. Now Gary Preble is going to try to slipstream AJ Owen here down towards the first corner. He's trying to go around the outside of him on the run to Redgate. Is he going to get the overlap in time? He's going to have to be very late on the brakes here. I don't think he's going to do it. Side by side, no. Owen, the red machine, holds the lead. Don Hughes just looking on from third place. David Griffin leads the pre-93. He's looking to retain his championship this year. Down the drop they come, through the dust cloud there. AJ Owen leads the way, the man from High Wycombe in Buckinghamshire. Chased by 191 Gary Preble, the Wiltshire driver. Along the bottom of the circuit, then climb up through Schwantz Curve into McLean's. Going clear of Don Hughes now in 148, the Hampshire driver, lives just near Thruxton Circuit in Andover. Towards the right-hander at Coppice, still Owen holds the lead. Multiple champion in the Pre-03 division, bouncing on the suspension there as he comes through Coppice. Is that going to move him wide? Preble's in the slipstream. Can he get him here on the run down? Owen, no. Positions his car over to the right. Preble's weaving about behind him. He's going to try and get him on the second element of the chicane, the left-hander, but Owen won't give him the chance. And keeps his lead. Hughes still in third place. We'll look back to the pre-93s as well. And it's Mike Dugdale's taken it. Where's David Griffin gone? We've lost the Diet Coke BMW. Griffin dropping down the timing screen as the leaders go side by side into Redgate once again. Now, where has David Griffin gone? Because it was Mike Dugdale came through in the lead. We've lost the number 34. There's a yellow flag at the Craner Curves. Is that where he is? So we've lost the Lincolnshire-based Australian-born driver in the Diet Coke car. Well, the Fizz has gone out of his race. Certainly, that might be parked on the. There's a car parked on the inside of the old hairpin. That may be the BMW. We'll pick that up later on. I can't see any other cars we've lost, so it must be Griffin. There are the leaders, Owen and Preble nose to tail, Don Hughes in third. And here comes our pre-93 leader, it's Mike Dugdale, number 51. Another Hampshire-based driver from Eastleigh. There is Griffin, it is him parked on the inside of the old hairpin. The BMW has broken down. And that will do some damage to his championship hopes this year. He wanted a class win. The leaders coming down to the chicane. Once again, here comes Preble. Again, he goes to the left. Again, Owen takes the inside line for the first element of the right-left, the Roberts chicane, named after Robert Fennell, the boss of Donington for many years. Here he comes again. Got the better exit there, Gary Preble, but again, Owen's got the line. Can Preble get the overlap around the outside? How late can he brake for Redgate corner there? Absolutely side by side. Centimetres between them there into Redgate. Great dice between these two Honda Civics. Don Hughes still there in third. He's 2 seconds off the Honda battle ahead of him. Mike Dugdale still fourth, ahead of Kevin Willis and Simon Ward up behind them. He's leading Class C of the pre-93s. Local man from Barwell in Leicestershire in his Astra. Ross Craig's Civic is seventh. He's fourth of the pre-03s, I should say. Here's a battle further back. Colin Newbold's Honda, the Vento of Mark Shepherd, and the Toyota Corolla of Rob May. Similar to the car that in the late 80s Chris Hodgetts won the British Touring Car Championship with. The Astra there, number 96, has had a moment. So that's Matthew Howarth at the chicane, that was. They swing through the old hairpin. Now here are the leaders. And look at the way Preble is dodging about there. He's determined to get past AJ Owen, renewing their rivalry from earlier on and from Silverstone. That spoiler looks a bit awry. The front spoiler on the 1-2-3 car. Preble is throwing his car around, trying to get to the line away from AJ Owen, but AJ is having none of it. Don Hughes has got the best seat in the house to watch this battle in his Peugeot in third. Down into Redgate once again, 9.5 minutes to go. Still AJ Owen leads. Can he put one over Gary Preble here? Further back in fourth, it's still Dugdale, Willis, Ward, then Craig, Cripps, Fowler and Bauer. That's your top 10 as they run at the moment. Almost lifting a wheel, almost mini style there for AJ Owen. Maybe he's been watching Joe Ferguson's cornering technique at the old hairpin. Mark Shepherd in the Vento closing up. There's Jake Margulies, he's running at the tail end. In fact, it is Mark Court in the number 59 Honda Integra, not Colin Newbold. That's showing on the timing screen, so they've switched drivers as well. Somebody has kicked up a load of dust there coming out of Coppice, one of the back markers. Pick that up in a moment, because here comes Gary Preble again, weaving about there. Which side's he going to go this time? He's going to go down the outside into the chicane, and again Owen holds him off. Oh, he was a little more aggressive that time through in his defence of the lead. What's Preble going to do this time into Redgate? Nothing between these two, but Don Hughes has got the fastest lap of the race. He's just in a 1:19.062. So the harder these two fight each other, they're losing time to the Peugeot behind them. Could we see the 306 catch them? Been some times since anything other than a Honda has won a pre-03 race outright. Simon Beeman's had a win or two in his Escort. He's back in the pack in this one in 10th place. Just taken Ian Bauer's BMW, in fact. There are the leaders along the bottom of these circuits. There's Matthew Howarth's Astra after a moment at the chicane earlier on. He's going to be lapped shortly. Here's a scrap further back in the order. Mark Shepherd under fire from one of the Rovers there. That's the 15 car. There's number 5, Mark Fowler in his BMW. He's in 9th place. Better run from him this time. Had to start from the back in race 1. Here are the leaders. Now, what's Gary Preble going to try this time? Owen positions his car in the middle of the circuit to defend. We're just past half distance through the chicane. Owen actually pulls away a little bit there through the chicane that time. Here they come down to Redgate. What's Preble going to do? He's moving to the inside a little earlier this time. Owen will move to cover again. Owen's actually just done the fastest lap of the race, 1:18.034, quite considerably quicker than Don Hughes' time. And they're really upping their game, the two Hondas now. They know the Peugeot is catching them. Down the Craners. Here's a battle further back. David Nixon, Sam Goodwin's Astra, Mark Court in the car shared with Colin Newbold, and Rob May's Corolla behind them. This is the fight for 13th place. David Nixon second in class in the pre-93s. Simon Ward leading that class further ahead. Up the hill to McLean's and Coppice. There's the pre-93 leader. We haven't forgotten about Mike Dugdale. He's just ahead of Kevin Willis. Here come the leaders, and they're flashing their lights at the back markers now. They don't want to be held up. Jake Margulies is sends a lap down there, and Owen, you can see, is pulled away by a car's length or so now. Through the chicane once again. So the setting sun isn't causing any visibility problems here. Don Hughes has dropped back a bit. He's got these back markers to deal with now. And Matthew Howarth didn't see the Peugeot there. He moved across the front of him. Gideon September's Honda is lapped. Runs a chain of amusement arcades in southern England, Gideon. Making his classic touring car racing club debut. Normally races at Brands Hatch with a variety of hatchbacks. Down the Craner curves. Still, Preble trying. Owen got the better getaway from second on the grid. Preble's been trying to catch up ever since. 5 minutes to go. Come up on the BMW estate of John Hillier, the E36 Touring. They get past him at McLean's. Hughes still third. Now where's our pre-93? Whoa, John Hillier's lost it. He's going to spin out there coming out of McLean's. I don't think he saved it there in the dip. He's gone off onto the outside of the run up to Coppice. I think he was unsettled by the leaders passing him at speed there. Down to the chicane again. Preble's not close enough to challenge this time. AJ Owen playing this very nicely. Coming up to lap Andy Sheraton in the Laser Tools BMW. The BMW Touring, incidentally, has got going again. Here's our pre-93 lead battle. Mike Dugdale in fourth overall has got Kevin Willis in the yellow car behind him. The banana yellow number 95 of Kevin Willis, new to the championship. Fourth and fifth, they're separated by half a second at the line. Here come the leaders down Craner curves. They've got Andy Sheraton ahead of them. Son Michael not able to race this weekend. There is Kevin Willis. That looks like one of Ray West's old BMWs that he's driving, the very experienced Thruxton-based racer. Leaders are together on the bottom section of the circuit. Here they come. Preble's closer again. They had to get past Andy Sheraton at the old hairpin there. Towards Coppice corner. Here they come. Owen takes the inside line. Preble is going to try and cut in on the exit here and get the better line for the exhibition straight. He's right on the tail of AJ Owen. Now he's really upping his game here, Gary Preble. Here we go. He's going to try and slipstream him. But again, Owen takes the inside line. Preble cuts back across. He tries to double bluff AJ Owen. That's like Nelson Piquet and Nigel Mansell at Silverstone in 87, and Preble's done it into the chicane. Oh, brilliant from Gary Preble. The double bluff there. I was just trying to say there, Piquet and Mansell, Silverstone 87 in the two Williamses. Nigel Mansell managed to do that into Stowe Corner, and the crowd invaded the track in response at the end of the race. I don't think there's any danger of that here at Donington, but Gary Preble has done it. He got the better exit from Coppice, so he was on the tail of AJ Owen and was able to get the slipstream going down the straight, and then sold him the dummy coming down into the chicane. Preble leads, and he leads Class D. The other class leaders, it's Owen leading Class B. 93 Class B is Mike Dugdale. 93 Class C, Simon Ward. 03A is Beamont. And 93D, Rob May in the Corolla. Now AJ Owen is on the attack. There's the pre-93 leaders. Mike Dugdale in the black and white car ahead of Kevin Willis. Somebody's been off there. Mark Shepherd in the Vento has run wide at Coppice corner, here are the leaders, just going through the dust cloud from Mark Shepherd's off there. They've got 2 minutes to go, so 2 laps to go, I would think. Here they come, lapping Vic Hope in his Honda. They have to slow behind him into the chicane here. Hope goes over the curb, and that's going to compromise AJ Owen. He's going to have to run wide on the exit. No, Hope moves across, lets them through. Now, 1:43 on the clock as they cross the lines. They'll get 2 more laps out of this, and AJ Owen's not finished yet. Gary Preble moves to cover into Redgate. Is Owen going to dive down the inside? He thought about it, but there wasn't room. AJ Owen, a very attacking driver, as we're going to see now. Here they come towards the Craner curbs for the penultimate time. Racing has got better as the day has gone on. Oh, Preble took a bit too much curb there as they came down the Craners. Has he been able to? Yeah, he's been able to stay ahead there. Yeah, he took a bit too much curb and got a wheel onto the dirt there. AJ Owen, that could give him the momentum he needs as they come up towards McLean's. Both Hondas with their lights on to warn the back markers. Preble takes the tighter line through McLean's corner. AJ Owen has to go wide. Next corner's the right-hander at Coppice. Here's the pre-93 leaders. Bit of showboating there from Kevin Willis, sliding his way through the old hairpin as Preble holds the lead. Now Owen's going to get the cutback. He's going to try and do to Preble what Preble did to him a lap ago. And there's a back marker there. Gary Preble's in trouble here because Mark Shepherd moves over. He's trying to wave them through, but Preble's preoccupied with Owen. Owen, I think, is going to get the inside line for the chicane. He's going to retake the lead here. Under braking for the chicane. He's done it. Well, that was because of the back marker there. Gary Preble had to lift off coming out of Coppice to avoid hitting the back of Mark Shepherd's Vento. And look at the lead AJ Owen's got now. I think that's the biggest gap we've had between them all race long. Less than a second, but still a sizable gap. They're into the last lap now. Now, what can Gary Preble do? He's got less than a lap to attack AJ Owen. He's trying to lap one of the Rovers there. I think Preble might have lost his chance. Lapping, I think that was Kaylee Twigger there in her Rover Tomcat. What can Gary Preble do here? It's going to be all on the last chicane, I reckon. And Preble is going to have to go like a bat out of hell around the last few corners to catch back up to AJ Owen. It looks like Mike Dugdale is going to win the pre-93 split in his BMW. Big lock up there from Rob May in the Corolla. All the leaders will be hoping they don't catch those 4 before the chicane. This is going to be dicey. They're going to have to negotiate their way through that little lot, battling ahead of them. Clock has counted down to 0. It'll be checkered flag this time in this last race of the weekend at Donington, and what a way to finish. Here they come, round Coppice. I think Owen's just about done enough. We've got a car spinning off into the gravel at Redgate. Andy Cripps has spun his BMW off there, but never mind that because here come the leaders. What's Gary Preble going to do? He's coming from a long way back. I don't think he's going to get close enough. He's trying everything. He stood on everything there through the final chicane, over the curbs. He's not going to do it, and it's going to be a win for Alex AJ Owen. He wins it, a cracking dice with Gary Preble. Owen wins by 0.7 of a second on the last lap. He got the fastest lap of the race as well. What a battle. Now here come the pre-93 leaders. Mike Dugdale and Kevin Willis. The black and white BMW number 51 of Mike Dugdale is going to win the pre-93 set after David Griffin retired early on. Dugdale wins it. Well done to him. Second goes to Kevin Willis. Third in pre-93 will be Simon Ward's Astra. Completing the overall podium was Don Hughes in the Peugeot. There are some of the class winners. AJ Owen wins Class B, Gary Preble Class D of the pre-93s. Class C for them was further back in the order. I think John Hillier was the only runner in that in the BMW estate in Class C. Class A goes to Simon Beament. The pre-93s overall winner and Class B winner Mike Dugdale. There's Andy Cripps' car in the gravel at Redgate after a late spin. 93C went to Simon Ward's Astra. 93D to this man, Rob May, in the Toyota Corolla. And 93E to Jake Margolese BMW. Class A in pre-93 had no starters. Well, AJ Owen, a wonderful fight with Gary Preble there. He's got the door open in celebration. And we'll hear from AJ Owen shortly, I think. Hopefully we'll see his father, Craig, back out racing later this year with his Sierra Cosworth as well. or possibly is Holden. Wow. What a phenomenal day's racing. Some of the very best saloon car racing I've seen in a long time. They'll head into pit lane. Hopefully we'll hear from Mike Dugdale and AJ Owen. Andy Cripps needs to be dug out of the gravel. There's the recovery vehicle to help him. We'll give you the results of that one then. Pre-93 and 03 touring cars. AJ Owen takes the win by 0.78 of a second from Gary Preble. A superb dice between them, and Don Hughes completes the overall podium. Mike Dugdale wins the pre-93 in fourth place ahead of Kevin Willis and Simon Ward. Mark Fowler a good seventh ahead of Simon Beamont in the Escort, with Ross Craig and Ian Bauer rounding out the top 10. Phil Wright takes 11th ahead of David Nixon, with Rob May 13th in the Corolla. Sam Goodwin and Mark Court round out the top 15. We lost Andy Cripps, of course, on the final lap, so 16th it will be Kaylee Twigger in her Rover, 17th for Mark Shepherd in his VW Vento, 18th goes to Vic Hope, then behind them the Durdal Saxo, Howard Astra, Andy Sheraton's BMW, Gideon September and Jake Margulies, with John Hillier's BMW Touring the final finish, although it did win its class. David Griffin failed to finish and David Howard failed to start. I can see the drivers down in Park Ferme ready to celebrate with their trophies. And we'll hopefully hear from AJ Owen and Mike Dugdale shortly, before we sign off for this Bank Holiday Monday here at Donington Park. But thanks to you all for watching, and we'll say our final goodbyes in a few minutes' time. Don't forget we do it all next weekend at Brands Hatch with the British Truck Racing Championship plus support races. But we've got, I think, our first and second place drivers, AJ Owen and Gary Preble, are down in Park Ferme, and they are talking to Steve Jameson down in Park Ferme.
Yeah, welcome down to Park Ferme. I'm with the two main men, AJ, Gary. That was an amazing race to watch. AJ, I'll come to you first. What was that like to be a part of? It was right down to the very last lap.
It was mental. I think that's the only way to describe it. Gary unfortunately missed the gear at the start, and I got the lead, and I didn't expect it. And then we always suffer with the rear-wheel drive BMW. So I mean, Gary actually had a word before race 1 and race 2 to sort of work together and then try and get away, and it worked. And then I think I looked more in my rearview mirrors than I did at the front of the screen. Just, huge credit to Gary, being able to drive so close as we were with each other, and there's not a mark on each car, and it's I think that's probably one of the best wins I've ever had.
Well, we'll come to you now, Gary, because that was a ridiculous finish. And can you repeat for the viewers at home what you said to him as soon as he came out of that car? Something about a back marker.
Bloody back markers was the word, I think. Yeah.
Talk us through that penultimate lap, because that was dramatic.
Well, I mean, let's go back to the start. I mean, off the start, as AJ rightly said, I had a good first gear getaway. It bolted in second. The gearbox is on the way out. It kept bulking in 6, so I couldn't grab 6 on the back straight. The poor little girl was revving its heart out down the back straight coming towards the chicane, and I knew I had to get away early, or try and get away early, which is the good thing. Obviously, the treaded tyres against the slicks, and the treaded tyres are obviously good in the early stages, and then towards the end of the race, they start going up. And I'm sure AJ had a little battle plan that if he got in front, he'd try and back me up and let the slicks come towards the end, which he did, because I noticed the lap times were going down incredibly. But as AJ said, I mean, the driving standards from both of us, absolutely astounding. Absolutely clean, as like he said, not a mark on every car, up the side of each other, every single straight, every single corner, and no rubbing at all. I put it up on the inside of him on the chicane, and he did a payback on the penultimate lap. So Yeah, fantastic. Absolutely brilliant racing, and that's what it's all about for me.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, AJ. I'll give you the final word. That move you put on in the penultimate lap was brilliant timing for yourself, of course. How much did your eyes light up when you saw that back marker, though?
I think I was still miffed when he come up the lap before, so I just thought I left too much of a gap, and he was there, and his car's got a little bit more straight line speed than mine, and I just thought I knew it was getting to the end. I thought, see what we can do, and there was pits that Gary's quicker, I'm quicker, and it just, as Gary will probably back up what I say, back markers sometimes win your race, back markers sometimes lose your race, and this race I was fortunate. But I have no doubt throughout the season it will swing back in Gary's way, it will swing back in mine. And don't discount Don in a Peugeot. You know, there's people who can win all over this grid, and we're sort of the lead two men at the minute. But you know, Don's clipping at the heels, as you saw in race one. Simon, who simply service sponsors a series, you know, his car's a rocket ship. Once he gets that sorted, that'll be up there. And the pre-93 boys. It is really a great championship with great drivers, great driving standards, and roll on the next one.
Yeah, you said it all, lads. Enjoy the result, and we'll see you soon.
Cheers, thank you.
Cheers, boys. Great interview, mate.
Well, what an incredible day of racing that was. Hopefully we can find Mike Dugdale, our pre-93 winner, as well in Parc Fermé. We'll talk to Mike Dugdale, taking the win after the demise. I think we can hand down shortly to Steve Jameson back in Parc Fermé, and we can have a word with Mike Dugdale, the winner of the pre-93 touring cars.
Yeah, welcome back down to Parc Fermé with our pre-93s winner. Mike, that was a fantastic race from yourself. Big congratulations. How much did you enjoy today?
It's absolutely fantastic. It's been a great day. I didn't have a good weekend at Silverstone. I had head gasket failure and testing, so to come here and get a first and a second is fantastic. I had a good race with Kevin behind. He's just keeping me honest. Is just close enough to pounce if I was to make a mistake. So it was, it was really, really good. Dave Griffin obviously gifted it. We were close to him, and whether we'd have been able to put it to him, he's had a good weekend here running. I don't know what happened to him, but you take your gifts when you get them, and then Kevin was there keeping me honest behind, and had a thoroughly good all race. It was brilliant.
How often were you checking that rear view mirror to see how often Kevin was sliding into focus? He was giving it hard behind you.
He was. I mean, whenever I wasn't looking for my apexes, it was glancing in the mirror and checking my mirror just to see where he was and seeing whether the next corner I'm going to have to be defensive or whether I can just be a bit cautious in it to make sure that I don't throw it away. Because obviously, you know, like the last chicane, you don't want to be hot into there. You lose getting on the power early, and then you just you can get a lot of time on somebody there. So it's just making sure you just don't throw it away. So it was really good.
We've reached the end of the weekend here at Donington. It's been a fantastic day in particular today. It's obviously all about enjoyment, this championships. That's what you guys all do it for. That's what you tell us all the time. But how much does that winner's hat sitting on your head right now mean to you?
It means a lot. I mean, especially it makes the 3-hour drive home down to Southampton. It makes that a lot easier. You know, when you've got car problems to sort when you get home, that drive home is just so much longer. So, there's a few of us heading south now. So it's it makes you grin on the way home, and I'm sure the miles will just disappear now.
Well, you certainly earned that. Safe trip back, and we will see you very soon.
Thanks. Bye.
Cheers, Mike. Thank you very much, mate. Great win.
Well, what an incredible day of racing that was. How do you sum up a day of saloon car racing like that? Thank you very much indeed for watching, ladies and gents.